The Aztecs and Ottomans were two of the most powerful empires in history, but what many people don't know is that they were once involved in a strange war in Southeast Asia. In the early 16th century, the Aztec Empire was at the height of its power in Mexico, while the Ottoman Empire was expanding rapidly in the Middle East and Europe. However, the two empires had little to do with each other geographically or culturally. That all changed in 1520 when a group of Aztec warriors arrived in Southeast Asia. They had been sent by the Aztec Emperor, Moctezuma II, on a mission to establish diplomatic ties with other countries and expand the empire's reach. The Aztecs soon found themselves in the Malay Archipelago, where they encountered the Ottoman Empire. The Ottomans were also expanding their influence in the region, and tensions soon rose between the two groups. The conflict between the Aztecs and Ottomans in Southeast Asia was strange for several reasons. For one, it was a war fought between two empires that had no prior history of conflict or rivalry. Additionally, it was fought in a region that was far from both empires' centers of power, and the reasons for the conflict remained somewhat unclear. Despite these odd circumstances, the conflict between the Aztecs and Ottomans was real and deadly. The two sides engaged in fierce battles, with both suffering heavy losses. The war continued for several years, with neither side gaining a clear advantage. Ultimately, the conflict between the Aztecs and Ottomans in Southeast Asia ended in a stalemate. The two sides eventually agreed to a truce, and the Aztecs returned home to Mexico. The war was largely forgotten in the years that followed, and today it remains a little-known footnote in the history of both empires. In conclusion, the war between the Aztecs and Ottomans in Southeast Asia is one of the strangest conflicts in history. It was fought between two empires that had no prior history of conflict or rivalry, in a region that was far from both empires' centers of power. Despite its odd circumstances, the conflict was real and deadly, with both sides suffering heavy losses. Today, it remains a little-known but intriguing chapter in the history of two of the world's greatest empires.